Hey, folks, friends. Wanted to at least get a little bit of content out there for you this day. And one of the things that came to my heart and mind was how to improve relationships. I talked about in another video um, the idea of rules without relationships lead to rebellion. So the opposite or the solution to that, what do you do? And I thought I'd address that a little bit here. And you want to do one thing to really improve your relationships or change them for the better. It is this. It's often quoted by or quoted given to Stephen Covey, or I use blanking on his name now. But it's the idea of seek first to understand before you're understood. The idea if we're trying to build relationships, we need to actually be seeking to engage with the other person. And we don't engage by talking as much as we do by listening, right? If you want to feel part of a connection in a person with a person, one of the biggest things to do is for them to do for us is to start asking us questions, not set up questions, not the ones that belittle us, but really just seeking to figure out where we're coming from, what's our perspective, and what are our values, what are our struggles, what are our desires, dreams, any of those things. Um, I find that a lot of times in relationships, uh, most people seem to be more focused on talking than they do on listening. Now, the thing with that is if both people are talking, neither are really listening. And and a lot of times in the talking, it is telling the other person what to do, or just telling the other person about themselves, as if the other person is really interested in hearing what they have to say. And they expect the person to want to be close to them because they are dumping out information. It really doesn't set things up to be very productive at all. But the tool I really want to change it around, I work with it when I work with clients, any couples, family members, individuals, anything where there's a conflict and they want to try to do something to resolve it. One of the first things I've described is the idea of seeking first to understand. So, what does that look like? Well, instead of talking, you're asking questions. And you're asking open-ended questions. Right? There's a difference between closed-ended questions and open-ended questions. Closed-ended questions are the ones that just kind of give a yes or no answer, or a simple answer. Right? Are you okay? How you feeling? Okay. Right? It's somewhat simple, although how you feeling ideally is a more open-ended question because it starts with the how, when, just, um, those sorts of bigger answers. The person can kind of go anywhere with the answer. You want to initiate with those kind of questions. And now, if the relationship's in conflict or relationship's kind of disconnected, um, it's not necessarily going to be really pretty and smooth and easy to start this, right? Because what is there if the relationship is in disconnect or it's in conflict is pain, hurt, anger, right? Frustration, lots of negative feelings, right? So if we're going to seek to understand the other person, we should expect that when we want to try to get to their heart, one of the first things we're going to run into and hear about is what they're feeling and what they're thinking and negative stuff. And it's probably going to be about us, right? Because if we're trying to engage in the relationship, it is between us and the other person. So they are going to have this history with us where they don't feel connected, they don't feel heard, they're going to feel ignored or disrespected, right? So expect that they're going to give you a good bit of negative, a good bit of frustration, pain, describing problems. And often there is a problem, and initially we can get labeled as being the problem. But it still is going to begin to build some trust, and some engagement, right? It's not pretty. A lot of times you need somebody like a counselor or coach or a pastor or somebody to help facilitate the conversation, because it's really easy to start defending yourself and talking rather than listening. But if you really want to work, you got to stay in that seeking to understand frame of mind. And it's to understand. You don't have to agree with the person. You just want to get a better idea of what's going on in them, right? So if they answer your question or a question and it doesn't quite make sense to you, or you think you understand it, but you're not sure, follow up questions are awesome. That is the idea, right? You want to keep building a better idea of what the person is what's going on in them. So help me understand that is often a good thing to request to have. Or could you elaborate on that more? Or you're saying this? Am I getting that correct? And could you explain it to me a little bit more? I'm a little confused, or something to continue. Or right, oh, so this is what was happening. Oh, so what did that do for you? Or how did you feel in response to that? Right? And that is going to continue the conversation. Right? But like I said earlier, when we're trying to reconcile, repair, or re-engage in a relationship, initially you're going to get a good bit of yuck thrown back at you. So going into these kind of conversations, you definitely also need to prepare yourself so you can actually respond appropriately to any kind of attacking sounding responses you may get from your questions. So just a little content today. There's a whole lot more involved with this. It's right, sounds very simple. Oh, just seek to understand the other person. And if it was that easy, we would all be doing it pretty frequently. But it's not that easy. It's a skill that's learned. It's a skill that is, you get the education, but you also have to practice it. And when you're starting off with this kind of new skill set, it's not going to go very well the first time, the first several times. And that's where some coaching, some guidance can be really helpful, because what I see is as we're trying to skill, we're going to fall back into the habits that we had before, which is to talk and not to listen, to explain and not ask questions. And then as soon as we do that, we are going back to what had caused some of the conflict and pain in the first place. So now, under the guise of trying to repair it, we're going backwards or adding more to it, or at least not being very productive in what we're doing. So get help if you need it. There are definitely good books out there on communicating. I don't have ones that come off mind. We had one basic one in counseling school, was the Kharkov method, and I can't remember the book. Somebody out there knows it. Put it in the comments, or I'll put it in the comments if I can find it. But it's reflective listening is the idea, and as counselors we learn that. But it is a skill set and a skill that everybody should know how to do. It will improve every area of your relationships in your life and make you more productive, more satisfied, more connected, more fulfilled in your relationships, and make the people around you really want to be with you and connected with you, and they will team up with you a whole lot more because they know you want them, not just a machine or some puppet to do what you want them to do. So there it is, and let me know what else I may have to elaborate on, or contact me. Be glad to help you figure some more stuff out. All right, take care, and talk to you next time. Bye.